breakfast.
Good morning and happy Year of the Tiger. Let's celebrate the occasion by looking at some lesser-known heroes of the genus Panthera, beginning with the ginchiest crime-buster of them all, Tiger Girl. With claw and fury she springs into the trap of the wolfhound, a human beast. Tiger Girl first sprang onto the scene in 1968 from Gold Key, of all publishers. And why not? The Key figured they deserved their cut of the superhero action as much as anyone. Granted, they were coming in on the tail end of the trend started by Marvel's new superheroes and Count by the Bat Mania of 1966, but the bet was there was still enough juice left in the genre to be worth the squeeze. And while previous efforts like Owlman and Mighty Samson didn't exactly set the world on fire, Tiger Girl might lead the reverse of the publisher's fortunes. It did not. Here's Tiger Girl now. Did you know it's her destiny to stalk and crush human beasts? Yeah, she's super into that, as we'll soon see. Our tale begins with an audacious daylight robbery in the city's Diamond District, where a passing van discharges a muscle-bound goon in a teddy bear gimp suit. This is the Growler because, of course it is. I mean, would you expect anything less? Just then, Teddy Boy is tackled by Ed Savage, super agent and staunch enforcer for the patriarchy. Sadly, Savage lacks the implied ferocity of his namesake and eats a bag of money for his troubles. Before he can flee, the Growler is distracted by the appearance of a luminous beacon. It's Ralston City's own hero, the tantalizing Tiger Girl. Growler takes a few potshots, but is unnerved by this unexpected development. He decides to attack the problem head-on, but Tiger Girl tosses him into a nearby wall. Unfortunately, the Growler has brought some backup in the form of these discount gangsters. Before they can use their heaters, sidekick Kitten appears to even the odds. Tiger Girl and Growler hug it out, but in the end, it's just another missed love connection. After incapacitating her foe, our heroine poses for a few pics before getting catty with Agent Savage. I guess this is meant to be romantic foreshadowing, but as we'll soon see, Tiger Girl gets her thrills another way. Soon, outside the Ding-a-Ling and South Circus, our protagonist resumes her everyday identity as Lily Taylor, aerialist. Hey, if you got a stash of tigers somewhere in your off hours, what better place than a circus? Lily hits her boss up for a raise, and all her pals go to bat for her because she's so keen. After that suggestion is shot down, we meet Lily's friends, Laughing Boy and Titan the Great, who want to know why she didn't bring them along on her latest caper. Well, for a start, you call yourselves Laughing Boy and Titan the Great. That's plenty, really. Lily's best friend forever is Kitten, with whom she has an unexplainable psychic link. We cut to the secret hideout of infamy, which presumably stands for something compelling. We're never actually told. This goof is Wolfhound, and he's being paid a cool $1 million to ice the Tiger Girl. But first, a test in the form of the Silent Stranger, who helpfully thinks exposition for the reader. But he didn't count on the Wolfhound's nostrils, which alert the would-be assassin to his prey. He conks the stranger on the noggin, then binds his ankles with chains and begins to swing him in circles, drawing upon but one iota of his unparalleled magnificence. He dispatches his foe thusly, the chained man only saved at the last moment by a protective force field. And yeah, that's quite the look, even for a supervillain. I can accept the hood and the fangs, but the floppy ears are just a bridge too far. The next day, a news report is interrupted by the wolfhound, who issues a public challenge to Tiger Girl with this Riddler-esque clue and another thrown man. Elsewhere, the gang at Dingaling Circus take note, especially Titan. Whoa, down, boy. Meanwhile, Lily's bell just rang. Eager to get to some stalking and crushing, she and Kitten head out, much to Titan's dismay. Trust me, bud, you could not handle her. Presumably using her feline powers to make this logistical leap, TG determines her foe waits beneath the cat statue in Oriental Park. On the way, our heroic pair come upon this potential pet cemetery moment, with Tiger Girl dispatching Kitten to help while she hurries on to the statue. And her hunch was right, as Wolfhound waits with an irritating smirk of confidence. TG attacks, but bumbles into a deep camouflaged pit. Man, this park must not get a lot of foot traffic for the villain to pull such a feat off. Above, Wolfhound taunts his captive, then sets his slavering pet Wolfsbane in after her. It's just at this moment that Kitten appears, the two natural predators clashing in a whirlwind of claw and fang. Except, this is a Gold Key comic, so, it's pretty tame. Tiger Girl, meanwhile, has gotten her striped fanny in gear and escaped the pit, landing straight into the sights of her attacker. A healthy kick to the sternum only spurs Wolfhound on, as he charges up the oversized cat statue, only to pull its head clean off and chuck it at his feline foe. Only her tiger speed saves Lily from a kinky finish, but just then, sirens split the afternoon air. Using this as a distraction, Wolfhound flees to fight another day. The agents of Wave, led by Ed Savage, show up for more pillow talk. Savage suggests that TG might be a kook for her masked activities, and she pretty much agrees in the snarkiest way possible. This does, however, give her an idea. The next day blares the headline, "Tiger Girl to Guinea Pig for Science Center." It's no Sticks, Nicks, Hicks Picks, but it gets folks' attention. In short, Tiger Girl is getting the Clockwork Orange treatment, where she's strapped into a chair and shown upsetting images, presumably of Ed Savage in his boxer briefs. Also, there's some tigers in a cage, and to round out the bill, Titan and Laughing Boy. Hey, you can't say that this gang can't put on a show when they want to. Just then, Wolfhound leaps through a nearby wall, spear in hand. However, his keen senses detect the figure strapped to the chair is a mere dummy. The whole thing is a trap. Presumably able to smell the fancy feast on her breath, Wolfie throws his spear at the curtain where Tiger Girl hides, allowing her to confiscate the weapon and then nab her foe. Just then, Wolfsbane jumps through another wall. What is the studio made out of, balsa wood? Before TG can react, 2 gunshots ring out, dropping the wolf in its tracks. Why, it's Ed Savage again. This guy doesn't know when to quit. And hey, the Dollar Store mobsters are back, and are as effective as ever. Still, they give Titan and Laughing Boy something to do, which is mostly be irritating. Wolfhound is down but not out. He springs to the offense, leaping onto the tiger cage and freeing the trio of savage beasts. Simulcast live on television, it's looking like the end for the terrific Pussycat. However, before you can say, "They're great!" Kitten leaps into the fray to break up the pack. Distracted, Wolfhound falls, TG blasts him with a fire hose and drives the offending parties back into their cage before giving Ed Savage a little something to remember her by. Sadly, it's not a swift kick to the head. Written by Superman co-creator Jerry Siegel with art by Jack Sparling, Tiger Girl sadly only lasted 1 issue, which is a shame. The character was very much ahead of her time, rebuking the patriarchal agents of Wave and throwing herself into potentially deadly confrontations with only her skill, wit, and pet tiger Kitty to aid her. And while the writing is wonky as hell, I have to say, this was an enjoyable book. Tiger Girl certainly deserved better. Next up, we shift our focus from the swingin' 60s to the sordid 70s and my favorite off-brand publisher, Atlas Comics. That's right, it's the long-awaited final issue of Tiger Man, and it's a doozy. I noticed while putting this episode together that these tiger-based characters are all really dicey. Sure, most superheroes are a little weird, but there's just something about running around in orange fur and black stripes that seems to require a nice sociopathic quality. Maybe it's just the creators attempting to key into the perceived nature of tigers being blindly savage, but to the one, these characters come off as loose cannons just as likely to get someone killed as save the day. But allow me to illustrate with our story already in progress. The normally serene graveyard shift at the hospital spins into chaos when the Tiger Man abruptly appears, a burn victim in tow. Seems he saved the guy at the last second but knows nothing of the particulars, a fact the nighttime security guard takes issue with. Buddy, you make minimum wage. No one's paying you to be a hero. After a little wino sass, we flash back to events immediately previous, where a canoodling couple in a park are witness to this distressing act of self-immolation. Good thing Tiger Man is there to... Wait, was he watching? You big orange perv! But hey, we're here to talk comics, not kink shame, so we join our hero in his civilian guise as Dr. Lancaster Hill, getting ready for the day shift. He ponders the events of the night before, trying to understand why someone would commit such a self-destructive act. Determined to find out, he heads to where the burn patient is being operated on, but unfortunately, the man is too far gone and dies on the operating table. This shakes Hill, who goes all existential. A pre-accident Dr. Strange fires up a smoke and tells Hill to get over it. Like the Butthole Surfers sing, strangers die every day. But our boy is shaken to his core. He's meant to help people, and this was a big strikeout. Hill flashes back to the events which inspired his crime-fighting career, the murder of his sister by two horse-loving carnies and his subsequent slaying of her killers. Is Tiger Man a hero, or just another crazy buck gone blood simple? With no answers forthcoming, Hill stalks the night, encountering yet another suicidal New Yorker. Maybe there's just something in the water. Unable to save her, Tiger Man can only ponder his next move, losing himself among the beshadowed rooftops. The next day, Hill learns the suicide victim's name was Hannah Markham, a patient of Dr. Otto Kaufman. Hill knows of Kaufman's free psychiatric clinic and heads downtown to check it out. However, Kaufman is far from helpful, deflecting Hill's questions while suggesting the young doctor himself is fit for counseling. After a bitter back and forth, Hill departs. Later, in his guise as Tiger Man, he spies an out-of-control car and leaps to the driver's aid. Unable to reach the steering wheel in time, the car speeds off a pier and into the murky darkness of the river. Using his prodigious strength and notorious hatred of baths to his advantage, Tiger Man liberates the driver and brings the two to the surface. To his surprise, the car's driver is Miss Day, a patient from Dr. Kaufman's office. His tiger senses tingling, Hill heads back to the doc's office, where he scans the patient's files. Seems all of these suicides have been planned, with future events on the schedule. However, before he can act, the office light is snapped on, and Tiger Man is caught in the act by Kaufman. Remembering he's facing off against a frail old man, TG goes on the offensive and chucks the creep across the office. However, it takes more than that to take down Kaufman, who lunges at Tiger Man. Again, the doctor is thrown aside, Tiger Man's overconfidence proving his undoing. Adjusting his eyepiece, Kaufman fires a dazzling burst from his monocle, pinning Tiger Man to the wall in agony. Pressing the advantage, the doctor uses hypnotic suggestion to implant suicidal thoughts in his foe's head. Driven from the office, Tiger Man stalks off into the night, his will no longer his own, merely the first step in Kaufman's plan for world domination. Tiger Man has found a gas station and proceeds to douse himself with unleaded, a costly proposition considering the gas crisis and all. Luckily, two cash-hungry thugs decide to stop him to check his wallet, an act that has the unforeseen consequence of saving the hero's life. The next day, Kaufman, now calling himself Dr. Hypnos, has just finished another productive session with a client. However, before Lionel can make the world any less crowded, the scene is interrupted by Whiskers McGee, presumably after a nice long shower. A quick Vulcan nerve pinch saves Lionel, but Hypnos isn't waiting around. Firing off another monocle shot, he closes in, but Tiger Man is long past fooling around with this clown and hammers the stuffing out of him. Hypnos heads up the steps, getting the rooftop where we learn the sunlight increases his powers tenfold. Sure, why not? Our hero tries to get in close enough to deliver a knockout blow, but is grazed by the monocle's beam, slowing him down. Redoubling his attack, Hypnos draws near enough for Tiger Man to snatch the monocle from his foe. Turning the eyepiece on the doctor, Tiger Man drives Hypnos back to the roof's edge. His will abruptly broken, the doctor hurls himself to the street below. Destroying the monocle, Tiger Man departs. A bitter lesson learned. Released in September of 1985, Tiger Man number 3 is a bittersweet affair. As I said, it's the final issue, which is unsurprising. Most Atlas comics met their demise at the third issue mark. The company, once so full of potential and promise, simply couldn't compete with the other bigger publishers, which is too bad. Of all the Atlas characters, I feel that Tiger Man had the greatest potential. Screwy origin aside, TM had the goods, with a distinctive look and feel that set him apart from other standard fare. Much like the Marvel properties that inspired him, Tiger Man was of the conflicted protagonist mold. Granted great power, he struggles to use it responsibly while restraining his savage nature. Making his alter ego a doctor and caregiver in his civilian life only underscores the dramatic potential. Writer Jerry Conway, who scripted this and the previous issue, seemed intent on exploring this dichotomy and makes headway by the end of the issue, showing our hero having this notable revelation. Steve Ditko provides a solid match for Conway's scripts, delivering some energetic and expressive art. Tiger Man foresaw the violent anti-hero archetype that would take off in the 1980s. With his over-the-top nature and aggressive tendencies, he would have fit right in. Sadly, he was just a little bit too early for the party, and Atlas was nothing but creamy quarter box filling by that point. Well, we'll always have Paris. I was delighted to find this next comic book, as I've been looking to track it down for years. This is Unearthly Spectacular and Tiger Boy from Twilight. As I've said before, comics should be fun, and this one looked to be, well, more fun than I could possibly handle. Alas, like most things, the anticipation proved far sweeter than the actual reality. But don't take my word for it. Let's get into it. Paul Canfield is a normal American boy with a difference. You see, Paul possesses a mysterious and unlimited control over the physical universe that allows him to do, well, pretty much anything. From saving speeding trains to making the high jump a mildly interesting spectator sport, this kid can do it all. Paul's parents come down hard, trying to quash his joie de vivre, but Paul won't back down. After mastering telekinetic feng shui, he's ready for bigger things, but the folks won't allow it. Instead of going to his room, Paul heads to Egypt, and then to the planet Mercury, where he discovers his remarkable abilities allow him to instantly adapt to any environment. Quick, make this kid a server at Denny's. Paul returns to Earth, where he really cuts loose, much to his parents' dismay. He even occasionally does something helpful, like saving people and trains, although that's a heck of a lot less fun than doing goofy crap like turning into a tiger and flying around the living room. Having enough of their devil spawn, Paul's parents put the foot down. Remarkably, the boy's seemingly limitless power has completely abated. It's the work of Mom and Dad, who have some big news for Paulie. Turns out he's a screaming yellow zonker from Jupiter. In a diaper, for some reason. His parents fled to Earth after being exiled from their homeworld, taking the guise of humans to live the remainder of their lives. Paul was never to know, but now that he does, a choice must be made. Live on Earth as a peaceful citizen, or find another planet where he may do no harm. Being the sensible sort, Paul decides being a human isn't so bad and heads out to mow the lawn, and hopefully never look in a mirror again. Now, longtime viewers might be scratching their heads and saying, wait a second, Tiger Boy changed into robots and superheroes. Yeah, that happens next issue, which reflects the situation on this cover far closer than the inside story does. I'm not sure what happened here, but man, I was let down. I mean, this was supposed to be the big epic conclusion of this episode. What am I going to do now? Well, fortunately, my pal Charlie had the solution. And so, without further ado, I give to you the Armless Tiger Man from Marvel Mystery Comics number 26. The vicious flash of white you see is teeth. Teeth! Teeth! No, it's not the Osmonds. It's the rampaging Armless Tiger Man. The story opens in a downtown tavern where a curious-looking patron asks for a bottle of Quim. Disappointed, he has the next best thing, biting a drunk on the neck before making off with his wallet. The next day, Mustachio do-gooder the Angel reads all about it in the paper. Seems the victim worked at the local defense plant. Was he a victim of foul play? Angel follows a trail of clues across town from the bar to a wine merchant and finally to the Hotel Metropole. Disguising himself as a waiter, Angel is led to Hearst, the only other man in town with a taste for Quim. He delivers the reclusive man's wine, but before he can leave, is attacked by his befanged guest. However, the Angel is no pushover and gives as good as he gets, driving Hearst off. The Tiger Man races down the stairs, making a death-defying leap for the chandelier. Angel sweeps in, grabbing the dangling length of chain, but before he can collar his foe, Tiger Man gives him a sharp kick to the melon before making his escape. Brushing himself off, Angel returns to Hearst's room, where the villain has helpfully left a big pile of clues to his activities and his next target. It's the Johnson plant. Clearly, Tiger Man is out to hinder the war effort by sabotaging America's Johnsons. Outside of his target, Tiger Man digs his way under the fence with his teeth. When was the last time he wanted anything that badly? He heads to the plant's steam room, opening the master valve. Moments later, the pipes burst, searing and blinding the workers in a horrific display. Using only his feet, Tiger Man attacks the plant's machinery. Anyone care to give him a hand? The Angel appears then, immediately wasting the element of surprise to end up pinned to the floor. About to have his face chewed off, some quick thinking stays Tiger Man's mandibular attack. His jaws now dislocated by the metal bar, Angel is able to bind the muscle-bound menace until the FBI arrive. Eager to get information, our hero removes the bar, allowing Tiger Man the chance to tell his heartbreaking origin story. Turns out he was just a poor German boy working in a Munich factory when his arms were torn off in an industrial accident. Forced to use his jaws and legs in place of his now missing limbs, Hearst grew abnormally powerful and monstery. He also developed a serious hate-on for machinery, which his new state allowed him to attack with impunity. Captured by the Gestapo, he was quickly given the job of saboteur and set loose on America. And, well, that's it. The stories weren't very long back then, but at least we get the thumbs up from Angel, who's off for a highball and a smoke. So yeah, pure golden age madness from a time when nothing was too absurd for an 8-pager. That said, losing your arms and then your marbles makes for a far more believable origin story than being exposed to radiation or magical lightning. I mean, you could totally understand Tiger Man's rage. The poor guy can't even get a little quim. Now, I thought that this was his only appearance, but it turns out that he's been brought back recently in issues of the Black Panther and the Avengers Alliance. And while that's cute to bring him back, nothing packs the visceral kick of this original story. Thank you for joining us. From all of us here at the Old Guys Who Like Old Comics Network, I wish you a happy and prosperous Year of the Tiger. I'm Jason Mink, and I hope to see you next Sunday at breakfast.